Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 99, finally, of the Hughes Sports Podcast. I am your host, of course, Jake Hughes, alongside the old man. Old man, how the hell are you doing today?
Oh my God, I am doing so good. It feels like I haven't done a show in months.
For you, I think it's been almost like 5 weeks.
Yeah, I think so. 5-6 weeks, maybe.
Because it's been since you left for your cruise that you haven't done an episode since the cruise.
Yeah, and we left for our cruise, I don't know, something around December or November something.
Last week of November.
Yeah, exactly.
And we're now
it's been a while.
We are now into 2025.
And I started off 2025 properly. I'm having a beer.
Apparently. My voice is probably not going to make it through most of the show. I'm going to be letting the old man...
folks, 2025 is going to be the best year ever.
I'm going to let the old man carry the show.
As usual.
Well, I wouldn't say as usual. But along for the ride for the first part of the show is guest extraordinaire. He is a very close friend of the show, Darren Dupont, owner of Dupont Media and the Rod Peterson Show. Darren, how are you doing?
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
New Year. How you doing, big guy?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Good to be on. And you know what? Looking forward to it. And you know what? You guys asked before. I haven't seen the new intro. I thought I saw some of the graphics and the logos and stuff, but not with the song. Well done.
Jake did that. How cool is that?
You sang it?
I did not sing it. That's the only thing I didn't do. I came up with the music. I came up with the lyrics, everything else.
I like it.
But the singing is not my beautiful tones.
Well, that's okay. I figured AI could adjust however bad they sound, but you know.
I thought it was awesome. The first time he played it, I'd almost jumped out of my seat.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck is that?
Okay.
Good stuff. So, we're going to jump right in.
Yeah, wherever you want to go.
Yeah, let's jump right into it. A couple nights ago, the old man and I watched. Was that last? Yeah, it was last night. Last night we watched as Canada lost to Czechia in the World Juniors, officially eliminating them for the second year in a row in the quarterfinals, and for the first time in World Junior history, in 49 years of World Juniors, back to back, Canada will not even be playing for a medal. Upset, to say the least, especially against coming through the rounds. Overall, what did you think of what did you think of the original selection of the team and then how they played throughout the tournament?
Yeah, it was obviously disappointing. I'm like everybody else, looking for answers. And look, I had a great chance to go to Ottawa and watch some of the pre-tournament games. And that was a treat. Like first of all, I don't know if this is right or wrong, but like I hate when the World Juniors is here. And I'm on record as saying that I hate it. I want it to be in Finland or in the Czech, or I want it to be overseas. I want to watch the games at 7 a.m.
I want to have to get up at 2 a.m, 3 a.m, and watch the game.
Yeah.
It just makes it better.
I know. And that's, with the Christmas tree and you got your coffee, that's what I want.
Yes.
So I don't really love when it's on our side of the world, but this might be my new favorite because I got to go watch the pre-tournament. I got to get, a real good grasp on Canada. I knew more about this team and I was more dialed in. And then come Boxing Day, I could still watch it on my couch, which was great. So I got a little bit of the best of both worlds. Now, makeup of the roster, I was okay with it. There's always some selections that you wonder about. Andrew Crystal and Kelowna with, leading the Western Hockey League, but that isn't new, right? And that doesn't necessarily, you can't read a lot into that. But the one guy for me was Bennett Seneca. I've been in the OHL a little bit now, and I got a chance to watch him a few times and even be on some broadcasts. And he's a player who I think is very versatile. He's a veteran. He's 18 now, but he's a third overall pick of Anaheim. He can score. He can play physical. He brings energy, and he plays with Callum Ritchie quite a bit in Oshawa. Yes. I thought he should have made the team. That was the one guy I thought, what, where is he? But when you look at the team in the pre-tournament, and a lot of the guys that, you can look at Parekh or Yaremchuk or some guys that, are getting some notoriety online. You start wondering why these guys aren't on the team, and it was floating around when they lost to Latvia. These two players were liking the tweets. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
You start thinking, geez, these guys are liking Canada's tweets and they're better than ever got on the team. Maybe. I don't know, right? But maybe there's a reason they're not on the team.
Well, and if I'm in those players' shoes where I think I'm the best of the best and I'm not on the team, I'm going to be a little bit pissy.
Sure.
And when they lose, I'm going to go.
But the second you do that, now I don't want you back next year on the team.
Well, right?
Right? So it's one thing to be upset and let that fire you. And there's another to be, whiny about it.
Yes.
And perhaps there's something that happened because they're really talented players. But regardless of all that, people called for Michael Misa should have been on the team, and he's going to be a first-round draft pick. But he's not going to go ahead of Porter Martone. And when I watched the preseason or the pre-tournament games, Porter Martone couldn't crack the top 6. He was a healthy scratch a couple of games.
Right.
And especially, after I think it was the second pre-tournament game, he struggled at that level to adjust. It's a really hard tournament. Even Gavin McKenna, everybody said he should have played more. The first pre-tournament game, he was the 13th forward.
Yes.
And he was nervous. He was, he lacked confidence. He was out of place, especially defensively. It's like this tournament is a massive step up from what they play in the CHL. Oh. And it's hard for us to realize. And I didn't really realize how much of a step until I watched it in person. And so I saw some of these roster decisions and or the way they managed the lineup early. And based on what I watched in the pre-tournament, I understood like Easton Cowan and Callum Ritchie, and it was Bradley Nadeau on the top line to start. They were lights out and easily Canada's best line through the pre-tournament.
Yeah.
Like every shift, they made something happen. They put points on the board every game. And so it was easy. Now, with McKenna being the 13th forward, he got the odd shift in place of Nadeau with Ritchie and Cowan. And I was begging Dave Cameron to put him up there because the few chances he got, now Dave Cameron was protecting McKenna.
Yes.
And after he looked really out of place, he got a couple of shifts and he got the puck on his stick early in the pre-tournament and he started gaining some confidence. But again, didn't use them too much. And when he got a couple shifts with Cowan and Ritchie, the creativity, when he didn't have to worry because he had 2 veterans with him, was off the charts. Like this kid is going to be so good. He doesn't do a lot. And then all of a sudden he does something that just makes your jaw drop.
Do you think he'll be the number 1 pick?
Oh, it won't, without a doubt. And next year he'll lead this team. And potentially the year after. Like he'll be really good.
Yes.
But he was young and it wasn't going to happen. And so expecting him to carry 22 minutes a night at this level was just unrealistic for a young player like that at this level. So protecting him. The other young player is Matthew Schaefer, the defenseman. Ouch. And I didn't really know Matthew Schaefer. You okay?
Yeah, I was just my shoulder.
Collarbone. I got you.
Yeah. I'm still feeling it.
Well, I didn't really know him. And Craig Button in November had him 4th in the draft rankings behind the American, I think Misa, and he had Martone projected to go 1st overall.
Oh, okay.
And Schaefer 4th. And when I tell you, he's now my new favorite player. I don't know how to emphasize it enough, but when I'm watching the pre-tournament, he made something happen every single shift.
Nope.
That's not an understanding. Every single shift. Every time he was on the ice, he was making something happen. And that was in the offensive zone. And then he would make a play to be all the way down. It looked like he'd be caught. And then he'd be back in the defensive zone, making up for it, coming up with the puck. And no, don't worry, I got it. This kid is mature beyond his years. And he should be the number 1 pick in the draft. And he'll be, I don't know, what his ceiling will be. But watching him, I have confidence that he'll be every bit as good as Cale Makar and some of the elite defensemen in the NHL.
Oh, wow.
That's how good this kid looked to me.
Well, and he's kind of the staple of what the new top line or top pair defenseman looks like. Yeah. He's agile. He can make those plays. He's not afraid to take it in the offensive zone as well. I mean, the reason he ended up breaking his collarbone was he was making a rush towards the net and made a pass and then just kept running in full bore into the post.
He decided he was more powerful than that goalie. It was like, ouch, it looked like it hurt. Oh,
I know. That really sucked when he was out.
Can you imagine back in the old days where those freaking nets were glued in?
I know.
He hit it that hard. Like, whoo.
Crazy.
Now, because we were supposed to have this conversation on Wednesday, on New Year's Day.
Yes.
The old
man. Jake was way too hungover to do this. Just saying.
Well, I was a little hungover, and then the old man also made plans for family dinner because my sister came into town, and I didn't get out of bed till like noon. I look at my phone, and everyone's talking about making plans, and I'm like, we have a show to do tonight. What are you doing? And this is the question I wanted to come into, and I still want your opinion on it.
Yeah.
Was the loss to Latvia the biggest upset in hockey history? Not just World Junior history, but hockey history.
Wow. I mean, I go back to Belarus upsetting Sweden. What year was that in the Olympics, right? Tommy Salo let it go in off his noggin. And was that 2002?
I was going to say 2001 or 2002.
I can't remember. And like Sweden was good. I think
2002.
They had beaten Canada to start that tournament.
Yes.
Right? Curtis Joseph was the starting goalie for Canada. And then that's what allowed them to go to Martin Brodeur. And then the rest for Canada's history. It wasn't a walk in the park, Canada going through that either.
Yeah.
Dealt with their adversity. But did Latvia. And what's funny is like we went and watched Latvia in Brockville in a pre-tournament game against the Czechs. And tiny rink, maybe 1,500 people there, one little concession stand. It was awesome, by the way.
Nice.
Didn't even have a rink burger, and they didn't offer a rink burger. I had a hot dog and a hot chocolate, classic, like small town. It was a small town barn, but we watched
powdered hot chocolate.
Yeah, it was about an hour, or so from Ottawa.
That's awesome.
And they came on the ice, and I'm watching them in the warm-up. I'm like, this is a midget team. Now U18, like that's what it looked like. This is not like a U18 team. It's like a minor hockey. And like seriously, like the way they were, and like a lot of guys in cages. Now they're young.
Yes.
Like I think they have like 5 or 6 guys who could play in 3 more World Juniors.
Wow.
Young.
Yeah.
And the Czechs owned the game and ended up winning by, I think it was 3-1 or something like that. 3 or 4-1. But one thing they did really well is they were really united. And that's, for whatever reason, the one thing I noticed about Latvia is their line changes were so efficient. Like 5 guys off the bench at once, flying over the boards and flying back. Like it was insane. But I just didn't think much of it. And then I see them in the tournament, and the way they played Canada, and they played Sweden really tight, and like they were good.
They were.
And Latvia has a chance to take some strides here over the next, couple of cycles here, a couple of years. And I don't know that they're going to be a medal contender, but they're growing. But I would go along that's up there. That's in the conversation. I'd have to do some homework, but that might be the biggest upset.
Is it a case that Canada is getting worse, or is it a case of every other country in the world coming up to where Canada is?
A little bit of everybody else is getting better.
Yeah.
But also a little bit, I don't know whether Canada's getting worse, but we're not as deep. Like this is something I've kind of, thought about a lot is as we get more diverse, like we're really good at basketball. We're putting more football players in the NFL and US NCAA college football. And look at what we did at the Olympics in the pool and other sports. Like we're getting really good across the board, or we are.
Yes.
But the more we diversify, the less we specialize, the less we're a hockey country. And the more young kids that are playing other sports, the less are enrolled in hockey, and the more expensive it gets, the less, less opportunity. If you have 100,000 kids playing, there's a great chance to find 23 guys who can beat anybody in the world. But when you only have a smaller pool, less chance of finding those diamonds in the rough. But I think the rest of the country is getting better. And part of it is they're learning how to play and how to win games. Like there's a recipe to win when you're not as good. And last night for Czechia, Canada was flying. And I'm glad we got to see that game before this because it makes me feel better about the team overall. Like those last 30 minutes or maybe even the last 2 periods, like Canada was flying. Now they're down 2 already, but they were flying. Like it was wave after wave after wave. It was energy. It was selfless hockey. Like even Cowan made the big hit behind the net because he was feeling it, and you had the energy, and guys were going, playing for each other. The crowd was into it, and that is what we're used to, right?
Yes.
This or at the World Juniors, that's what we're used to.
Yes.
The problem is, we saw it for the last 2 periods of the whole tournament. It's the only time we saw it.
That was the only time I felt it, and it was funny because I had to make that post on Facebook where my heart rate for the first time was extremely elevated.
And you're like, this team is just flying.
Right?
Flying.
You could see the skill that was there that everyone had talked about, but it was finally actually happening on the ice in front of us.
Now, they outscored them 2-1, final 2 periods. They're down 3-1. Yeah. Right? Outscored them 2-1. But when you're outmatched, and you are, the recipe is keep them to the outside, hold on, get key saves, and then capitalize on a breakdown or capitalize when you get a chance on a power play, right? That's how you win games when you're not favored, and that's what happened. Yeah. Get heavily outshot, get outplayed, all the rest. Just maintain until we get a power play, until we get a breakdown, until we get something, and sure enough, it happened in the last minute.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room. Bad reffing or undisciplined or a combination of both?
My first thought was, bad reffing.
Yes.
But then as we watched, like Mike Johnson, the color analyst, who I have a lot of respect for, we watched the replays like, well, that's a penalty. And it's hard to argue a lot of these, like they're penalties.
The kneeing, the early kneeing to Baudouin, I don't see how you can review that and call that a kneeing penalty. I don't see how you can call it a penalty in period. The initial contact, and I have a video if we want to watch, but the initial contact is through his chest, and the knee comes through and touches his thigh comes through and hits his leg.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Like, and Bob McKenzie did a great job breaking it down, but it didn't, it took a few looks to get there. It didn't look good. The knee was out and the rest, and they're trying to review it quickly. So I understand it, an error on the side of keeping that out of the game, and having your knee out there. I get that. It didn't end up really hurting Canada. I mean, we gave up a goal on there. We scored shorthanded, whatever. The only one that really bothered me was, now we're in this mode of every time you want to call an embellishment penalty, we're going to call the trip too. Can we call the embellishment and just leave it at that? If he dove, then we didn't do enough, right?
How could it be if I dive? How can it be I dove and I was tripped? I mean, it had to be one of the other.
There are circumstances, I guess. Yeah, but that was the only one that bugged me. But in the end, I don't think that was an issue. I think we were way too undisciplined. Undisciplined.
You know what? After I calmed down, because of course, as I said on freaking Facebook, I would love to be able to just watch a game for the sake of watching and not get emotionally invested.
What fun is that?
It wouldn't be. And I realize that. But I get so emotionally invested that the emotions are just right on the sleeve. It's my heart rate's 120 and I'm yelling and I'm screaming and I'm an irrational fan.
Well, that's I love that you guys use that term. I think that's the greatest thing in sports. Too often social media and let's look at the college football playoff and this, we want to remove all doubt, right? Yes. We don't want to put ourselves out there. We don't want to put ourselves out there and risk that we might get hurt. So, we want to have our team, win by 100 points and, we want to have the calls go our way and we want to have all these things happen and we want to win and we don't want it to be tense. But when it's tense and you think you might lose and then you win, moments when Howe scored shorthanded, how great did that feel? Or when they scored to tie it up, how great did that feel?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
It wouldn't have been the same if we routed them 7-1. Now, I wish we would have won the game. I'd rather take 7-1 over losing. But
the games you remember are the ones that were, I mean, the Tavares game where we were down, 3-0 or 3-1?
Yeah.
4-1 or something. We came back and won that game.
Was that 2009? Was that in the, we were watching, I think Jake froze. Either that or he's dead. I'm not sure which one. I'm thinking he froze. Look at that face. How can you not love that face?
Yeah.
But I think that was 2009, that game. If my memory
those are the things we remember, right?
It is.
And unfortunately, the losses, as deep as they are, and ones like this, like every so often, and there's back, every so often, we need a reset. Like just winning every year is great, but it's also not great for the product. And losing makes winning better.
Well, yeah, now, I mean, we haven't even been in a medal round for 2 years. If we come back next year and make it to the medal round and make it to the gold medal game, how freaking exciting.
But we're going to be a little insecure, right? And think that it's not in the bag.
Well, for years, it was just a given. We're going to win the World Juniors. That's what we do.
We're at least going to be in the gold medal game.
Right?
You know?
That's what we do. We beat them. Now, it's which is a weird feeling because it's like we used to be the best of the best.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even like it was close. It was far and away we were the better team. Like,
yeah. Now, I guess the big question is there going to be changes made? Is the Hockey Canada responsible, the powers that be? We just went through a big change with Hockey Canada because of all the crap that had happened. Is there another big change? Heads going to roll?
Of course. I mean, something will happen. I don't know about heads rolling, but what will happen is there'll be changes to the group. And it goes in cycles, right? A group has success. And I'm talking about management, coaching staff, all the rest. And they come together for this. Like Peter Anholtz with Lethbridge. He's not with Hockey Canada full time. I'm not worried about Scott Salmon going anywhere. But you look at him. You look at Al Murray, who was part of this group now, and Dave Cameron. Like, they're not going to come back next year.
Oh, really?
We're going to have there's going to be a new group, new coaching staff. And if they win, they'll get another one. And typically, our group, there's so many good coaches across the country. You'll get probably 2 years if you're good and do well. But I'm like, again, a lot of the narrative is, and the hate is on Cameron, which I get.
Yeah.
And it's easy when you don't play well. And then you've got an old school coach who doesn't say much and is prickly and then doesn't want to admit, and say things when he's lost. And he's a prickly guy. He's a really great guy and you get to know him. But these guys are easy to paint as the villain, and he should wear it, right? I mean, he'll be the first to admit it, and Peter Anholtz and the rest. And I love Peter, and
he said he had no regrets.
No, and okay, fine. I mean, the team got going, I guess, at the end for you a little bit, but they're going to get new coaches in there. I'd like to see some of these great young coaches. I don't think we need to go away from the old guys completely because there's a lot of resources there. But I look at like a lot of good young coaches across Canada that could coach this team and relate to some of these young players. I'd like to see us go with a young coach.
I think you nailed it there because we have the new era of player who don't respond to the old style coaching because
he's gone to the American League. But I'd love, and maybe he can come back and do it. But I'd love to see somebody like Brendan Sawney get a chance to coach, like what he did in Saskatoon and got the Blades. I mean, one step away from going to a Western Hockey League final, and now he's in Coachella Valley with the Firebirds. I'd love to see somebody like him. He'd be my pick to coach Team Canada and coach the young kids.
Now we're gonna put that out in the universe. Has there been talk? Have you heard talk of that, or is that just
not of him? No, I haven't heard names. I'm just speculating now, and it's far too early for that. I mean,
of course,
we'll get into towards the summer, and we'll start thinking about who's the next coach for the cycle as they get ready for summer camp, and then doing the cycle all over again. But other things we've gone away from, like this team, I think for a large part was picked going in, which is great. You guys know, and you're trying to do that in an effort to build chemistry through the summer camp, knowing who's going to be on the team. But gone are the days of doing the midnight or early morning knocks on the doors that it's covered on TSN, telling guys they've made the team or they got cut, And I understand why you get rid of that, but I also think it's, those deep cuts also, again, those are big losses, right? Those make the wins better.
Yes.
So it should mean something to be on this team. It should matter. And it does still, I think.
I was just going to ask that. Do you think it still does? Or do you think nowadays it's accepted?
I think it's still a big deal. I really do, to be on this team. It's still ingrained in our culture, and we'll still watch it next year, and it's still going to be a big deal.
Right? Yes.
Yeah. And I think the better the rest of the world gets, I think the better this tournament's going to be. And
yes.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Well, because there's more of a challenge now. Not one team is going to walk away with it.
Yeah, next year, how about this? It's in Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's in the U.S. next year. Can I swear on here?
Yeah.
They just kicked our ass.
Yeah.
And they're going to probably win gold. And then we're going to go in there and we're going to have to deal with that environment after getting bounced in the quarterfinals 2 years in a row. You better have thick skin going in there next year.
Oh, yeah.
But isn't that going to be great? Some adversity to overcome built in already?
Yeah. There's a good question just before we let you go, because we said we were only going to keep you 15, 20 minutes. So it's been a half hour. Is it fair to criticize 18-year-old hockey players playing in the World Juniors?
Yes.
Thank you.
But only to a certain point.
Yes.
People take it too far on social media, 100%.
Yeah, for sure. And stay out of their DMs. The social media is one thing, but if you're a player, unfortunately, these young kids need to stay off or find a way, understand it. And I talk about expectations versus reality, that's the expectation. It's a hard thing to learn. Yes. But when you're a player, when you're there, you're just a number.
Yeah.
You're just a player. It's like a video game. It's whatever. You need to win, and when you don't, we yell. Same thing with the refs. But the second the game's over, and on social media, that's not really real life either.
No.
So that I don't even have that big of a problem with. But and not even to get politics on us, because I don't want to go down the road. But this is people are gonna it's where you think of and stuff. Just keep it out of the day-to-day life. Keep it out of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keep it to social, keep it to the game, keep it to the right channels where we can separate. Because once the helmet's off, once you're out of social media, these are people, these are kids. We don't need that.
No. But in my thinking, yes, they're kids. Call them 18-year-olds. To me, I'm 60. They're kids.
They are.
But they are the best of the best in Canada. They know, or at least they should have been told, if they don't know, that they're about to go under the biggest spotlight they've ever had in their entire life. And the expectations are through the roof. You've got to have thick skin or it's going to crush
you have to understand that it's going to come out there and it's not personal. Mm-hmm. And it's not, they don't know you, but all you are is the hockey player that either made the mistake or made the play. And if you're going to go into the social media world, you have to be able to go in and understand, okay, that's what it is. But even if you go in, understand, with an idea of I know this is not personal, it's hard not to take it personally. Oh, so
even at my age, someone coming after me like that, you fucking suck.
You really gotta,
right?
And especially when it's going sideways, I'd almost look at getting rid of the phones, guys. You really got to turn this off. I
couldn't even imagine the abuse they took.
But yelling at the kids, once the jersey's off and all the stuff, in the streets, in the malls,
that's way too far.
None of that.
And apparently, it's gotten really, really ugly.
And to me, that goes for professional athletes too.
Hell yeah.
And anybody.
Yes.
When they're out of the arena, whatever the arena is.
Yes.
It's not fair game anymore.
Yeah, I agree. And I tell people, you can come on here and you can insult us. You can do whatever. If you see me in person and try that, I'll probably punch you.
Not social media is fine, in the media, in the newspaper, that. Those are the channels.
Yes.
And now fans have an opportunity to voice their thing through the social media channels. But it's never okay to do that to somebody's face.
No. No, ever. And it rarely happens because people are keyboard warriors and they just want to go, oh, you suck. you must see it.
Exactly.
Right? How long have you been doing this now? How long have you been broadcasting?
Since 2006.
Real? Oh, wow. I didn't think it was that long. Holy crap. That's like
18, in September, it was 18. Was it 18 years? Is that the math?
19 now.
19.
This is year 19. Yeah.
This is year 19.
Wow.
I know.
And let's wrap it up here. But the Rod Pettersson show still going strong.
Yep.
Where can people watch it? Tell them.
Fun things happening this year for sure. And, mostly, excited for the end of the year, but Grey Cup in Winnipeg. You were there with Rod in Vancouver.
Yeah.
And that's great. But Winnipeg is that's our bread basket. That is our bread and butter.
Yeah.
So it's going to be off the charts. Got some fun things planned for that. That'll be really fun.
And we're going to be there.
Oh, yeah.
Right,
Good.
Jake?
That's the plan.
We're going to be there. We're going to be on. Hopefully they have Radio Row again.
Yeah, we'll see. I haven't heard plans yet on what exactly they're looking at. But that'll start once we get into the spring. It'll be hot and heavy.
It was cool. I had somebody from the Calgary Stampeders reach out to me today trying to sell me season tickets. And I got all kind of giddy. I was like, oh, football.
Yeah.
It starts.
And it's getting good. It's going to be good. I don't know. A lot of intrigue going into the season.
Lots of changes happening with Vernon Adams, of course, coming to Calgary.
Oh, yeah. Complete change in Edmonton. Vancouver is now settled.
And did I read something? Or was I dreaming? Did I read something about Geroy Simon's got an opportunity in college?
Yes. He's a GM, yeah.
Wow, eh?
Yeah.
But which school? Because there's now reports that there's 2 schools that have hired him.
Yeah, I don't want to claim and get it wrong. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's great for him. He's well respected in the football world. He's kind of, paying his dues. And but I understand Ed Hervey's got a great rich history in the CFL, track record of success with that organization. So I think there's some good things coming in Edmonton too.
And Geroy, one of the nicest guys you can meet. I've met him 4 times now with Rod, and it amazes me because there was probably close to a year in between, and he looked at me and goes, "You're Kevin," and I was remembered. Wow. Geroy Simon knows who the hell my name because I introduced myself one time to him.
Yeah, very cool.
Just amazing. That kind of thing, it just makes me go, wow.
Yeah.
Right? Cool. Dude, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate you.
I'll always answer the call.
I know you will, buddy. That's why I reach out. I was going to ask Rod, but it's
past his bedtime.
Oh, yeah. No. He won't do the 10 o'clock call.
No, he's asleep.
Me, no problem. But
Rod will be watching tomorrow morning and going, "Oh, you bastard! Did you say that?"
If you want to do the 7 a.m. show, we'll flip. You can get him. You probably aren't going to get me.
You're probably not going to get me either.
We can barely get Darren up for noon.
Yeah, exactly.
He's having his morning coffee.
Oh yeah.
Okay, watch the Rod Pettersson show. Game Plus Television Network still, YouTube.
You bet.
And on Facebook now?
Occasionally. Only on special events.
Okay. Darren, thanks so much, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
You're the best. Jake, did you save your voice?
I saved my voice a little bit.
Oh, it's sounding hoarse.
I told you, it's not going to last this whole show.
It isn't. It's not good. So... World Juniors. We beat it up.
It was
death.
Yep.
Now the question is, are you going to watch anything?
What do you mean?
Are you going to watch any more of the World Juniors?
No.
Me neither.
No, I'm a sore loser. I literally the game ended. I turned it off.
Yeah.
I changed the channel and I watched something else. I turned on the Canucks game where we were immediately within the first 3 minutes of the game, already down by 1.
I think we said we hate hockey.
Yeah, I can give us an update with 7 minutes left in the first period. It is still tied at 0.
Oh, who
against the Predators? We're playing against the Predators.
Right. Preds, right.
And it looks like Dakota Joshua and Michael McCarron got into a fight.
Oh,
so
interesting. So this is you put up a good.
Canucks are in total upheaval.
What the is going on?
Well, there's too many moving pieces to say. There's too much going on to just say it's one thing. Because you've got Hughes out. You've got Hronek out. Brandstrom is being benched for some reason, or just not benched, but scratched. Yeah. Healthy scratched. For all we know, healthy scratched.
Yes.
It might end up that he has something minor bugging him, but the communication from this organization is atrocious and we'll never find out for years.
Petey out. You've got Miller and Petey arguing and fighting and causing issues so bad that it's now being reported that it's affecting like day-to-day operations. It's asinine to me, and we've talked about it before. We beat it to death that these two grown-ass adults can't seem to put their differences aside and work.
We've talked about it once on the show. That's it. To be completely honest. Me and you, we've only talked about it once on the show.
Frick, I feel like I talk about it every effing day.
Because we do, because it's constant. It's a constant, like if you're involved in the media and you're involved in anything with the Vancouver Canucks, every day you're hearing Miller's going to get traded, Petey's going to get traded. And really this kind of leads directly into what is next on the rundown is there's lots of rumors that New York is one of the places or the only place that JT Miller would be willing to waive. This is according to insiders.
Yep.
New York is the Ranger scout staff are apparently at the game tonight.
Yeah, that gets reported so often. I mean, they're probably...
To be fair, they're always going around to watching games.
Exactly.
And the Predators are not doing good, so they're going to be selling people too. The Rangers have a shit ton of cap space.
Yeah.
So...
But okay, so let's look at the Rangers roster.
Yep.
Who? For a Miller, who are we going to get?
I think there's only really one player that would even come close, but it would be, in my opinion, and the situation that the team is in, would be almost impossible to pull. Because when you're calling teams right now, you're on the offensive. They have the advantage.
Oh, yeah. And I did hear that is why this organization is sitting there going, we don't want to deal right now.
Yeah.
Why
would you?
They literally, it's like, oh, fuck, my car's broken down. I need a new car, but I want to trade my car in, but it doesn't run. Are you going to give me very much for that car?
Or I more so go into it and saying, you go to a car salesman and say, I need to buy a car today.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, or I need to buy a car. Okay. When do you need your car? Yesterday.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this is the price then.
Right. It's just, yeah, it's,
So, sorry, going back, the only player that I can see if you're doing a 1-for-1 swap or a JT Miller for a player plus a little bit, it's going to be Mika Zibanejad. I know Mika's a fantastic player.
Oh. Plays out east, obviously. I've never heard of him.
Yeah, he's only had 72 points last year, 91 points the year prior, 81 the year before that. 50 in only 56 games the year before that in a shortened season. 75, 74. Going back to 2018, 2019.
And I can honestly say, obviously, I concentrate on my Canucks.
Yep.
On my shoulder. You know what else I concentrate on? Our mascot. He's been missing. He's back, Jake. Are you happy to see him?
I'm stoked.
People want to see him.
I'm as stoked as Elmo is whenever you mention Rocco around him.
There we go. So we've had the mascot. We're good.
So Mika Zibanejad would be very similar. Like they're the exact same age. Their salaries, I think, within like $500,000 of each other.
Wow.
If you're doing a 1-for-1, I think that's your player. I don't think this team wants to do a 1-for-1.
Probably not.
I think this team wants to do a Höglander, who over the last handful of games has really improved. I think you'd be silly to trade him, but I still wouldn't be surprised to see him get traded because he's not a Rick Tocchet type player.
Well, and he hasn't been putting the puck in the net.
You don't need to be putting the puck in the net as a fourth line player.
I agree.
But if you're looking to get a defenseman as well, you throw in Höglander, and hopefully you're able to get back a K'Andre Miller, a Braden Schneider type defenseman, which would fill into our second pairing defenseman.
And didn't Miller originally come from New York?
Yes, New York originally drafted him. He then went to the Lightning, and then we acquired him from the Lightning.
It's funny, I was on Twitter today, and I was reading down Twitter, and I don't know, I think it was Elliot Friedman said, if I was Chicago, I'd be calling the Canucks.
They've worked together in a lot of different trades.
Bedard.
No way you're getting Bedard for Miller. That would be.
I just wanted to see you.
That would be an Elias Pettersson trade.
Okay.
Elias Pettersson in your first round this year and your first round next year.
Okay.
For Bedard.
I would do that.
Good teams do not trade elite players.
We're not a good team. We've been playing like freaking
No. I'm not talking about results-wise. Good teams, organizationally good teams, do not trade elite players. The only player that is even close to Elias Pettersson that has been traded in the last 10 years is Jack Eichel.
How'd that turn out?
Yeah, fantastic for Vegas.
Yeah.
Buffalo wouldn't let him get the surgery he wanted because
I remember,
they're American and their
Shot
body.
money.
Well, it's his body, but it's their rights.
Yeah.
They traded him for nothing because he demanded a trade and he was the only, he had full control on where it was going to happen. And look at him now. Absolutely insanity. And now look at where Buffalo is, still in the murky middle of nothingness.
Exactly. So just an update here. My brother, who watches every game, Mr.
Yes,
Rick, sent me a tweet, and he said, something's up. 3 minutes, and the top line just came on the ice. And then on their first penalty, they were only on the ice. Oh, and then they were only on the ice for 20 seconds, not the first penalty. And that they were only on the ice for 20 seconds. Interesting take.
I don't think it's that interesting. And the reason I say that, if you watch last night's game, JT Miller had the least amount of time on the ice.
Yes.
For any forward.
Yes. And when asked about it, Tocchet said other players deserved more time than he did.
Can you argue with that?
No, not at all. Not at all. Like this says, no, which one was it? It's gone away.
Sorry, Ron has been messaging in throughout everything. I just want to get to him. No way Chicago's going to trade Bedard. 100%. There's no way it's going to happen.
It's funny though. It's fun to speculate, especially when I get to do that and throw it at Jake out of the blue and just watch his eyes go about 10 times its normal size. It's just fun. But no, I'm going to go back to where is it? This year, saying Canucks are in total upheaval. Everything about this team right now is off. Players are getting hurt left, right, and center.
But now we got super lucky last year. Let's not kid ourselves. We were super lucky last year with injuries.
Except for, of course, that was the other player that's out, is Demko.
Back spasm, supposedly.
Yeah. So we haven't had any updates whatsoever.
Nor did we expect it. I texted you last night saying I'd be surprised to get an update today. Mm-hmm. Like as soon as we'd get something is today. but it's also a game day.
But I did hear that after this game, we're on I think 5-game road trip, and both Petey and Hughes will be on that road trip.
I'll believe it when I see it.
That's a good sign. Where did I hear it? I think J-Pat said that. So let's hope, cross our fingers, let's hope that is actually going to happen. But I guess the question now, Jake, is everybody agrees that there's something wrong. What do we do to fix it? We're in charge. We get total control for the next 24 hours. What do we do with the Canucks?
Nothing.
Thank you. We sit them down in a room, the whole team.
No. You sit everyone in a room except for Petey and Miller.
Oh, okay.
And you tell everyone, we're going to send them in next. It's up to you guys as a team to get them to get along. No one leaves this room until the two of them, I don't even care if they like each other. They're all, as long as they're on the same page.
Yes.
Because you know what that's going to do? That's not just going to get rid of the tension between the teammates, but it's going to galvanize your team.
Yes.
Hey, if we can get through this, we can get through anything.
Yeah. We need to do something.
Well, and supposedly Hughes has sat them down and talked to them.
Yes.
And had conversation with them and tried to sort it out and be the middleman, but it's not going anywhere.
Yes, exactly.
Let's wrap it up pretty quick here. We'll wrap it up a little early because that way everyone can go watch the second period, or I can at least go watch the second and third period.
There you go. Before
we do, the BC Lions had some news this week.
Yeah.
They officially announced their coaching staff. I'm going to read through it here. So Buck Pierce, we already knew, is going to be the head coach. He's also the offensive coordinator. Back.
I didn't know he was the OC.
He will be the OC.
Oh, okay.
The defensive coordinator. Back as the defensive coordinator. Mike Benavides.
I like it.
And that means there is a demotion because Ryan Phillips is still part of the coaching staff. He is a secondary coach and passing game coordinator.
Interesting.
I don't know what that means, and I wish we had more time to speak with Darren. But as we get closer to the CFL season, I'd love to have him back on to talk about that because I've never seen that title.
No.
Then we have Corey McDermott as the special teams coordinator, Kevin Borgon as the wide receivers coach / passing game coordinator. So both him and Phillips are sharing that responsibility. And then a whole bunch of other people that I just wanted to highlight kind of the big changes.
Yeah.
And also the fact that there's two passing game coordinators.
It's interesting.
I want to know what that role entails.
I could reach out to their comm guy and maybe we can actually have him on and have a chat with him. I'll do that.
Yeah.
I'll do that this week.
Yeah, see if we can get him on.
Yeah.
Anything else from you, the old man, before we wrap up early?
No.
All right, good, because my voice is killing me.
I hear it.
So we're going to wrap up. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in. If you want to support the show, you can head over to SeatGeek.com. Use code HSPPod to receive $20 off your first ticket purchase. Again, that code is HSPPod to receive $20 off your first ticket purchase. SeatGeek.com allows you to get tickets to any events in your area, whether that's sporting, musicals, theater, anything. They also have a fantastic system that allows you to know if seats are good, fair, or bad pricing, allowing you to know very quickly if those seats are worth purchasing. Again, that code is HSPPod to receive $20 off your first ticket purchase. Thank you, SeatGeek.com, for the sponsorship. That will wrap up. We will be here next Wednesday. We'll be back to the Wednesday schedule. Now that the old man's back, he's dealt with pneumonia. Hopefully I'm not sounding like this next week. Till then, check us out on X, Twitter, Facebook, at HSP Pod. You can follow us on Blue Sky at HS Pod. The only one that's slightly different. Blue Skies. You can follow me at JStreams on all of the platforms. You can follow the old man all over the place at OldManHSP. You can also check him out doing his mediumship stuff at Kevin the Medium on Facebook. I know he's doing some crazy promotions right now, but check him out on Facebook. And until next week, have yourselves a